HBAR has had a great run to the upside in the last few days, but things might be starting to look a little bit worrying for the price action. So in today's video, I'm going to spend some time with you guys just walking through what I'm seeing on the daily time frame when it comes to Hedera hash graph and whether or not we want to be concerned about HBAR's price action. As I get into today's video, if you do find it useful and informative, smash that like button. If you are new to the channel, subscribe, and let's take a look at what's going on with Hedera. So here we have HBAR paired up with USDT. We're on the 1-day Binance chart. Now, as you can kind of see, we've seen a good move to the upside. Now, there's still potential to this for it to continue running up a little bit further. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just move our yellow box area here out of the way, just so that we can actually pay attention to the candlesticks, okay, in a little bit more detail. So here you can see a bit of a run to the upside. Okay, we have seen a bit of a pull and then another push. Now, our current area of resistance is coming in on the 50 EMA, which is the blue line, and the 50 SMA, which is the yellow line. Okay, at the point of recording today's video, the 50 simple moving average, the yellow line, is coming in at 5.26 cents. Okay, we did see a brief close above that level yesterday. Okay, we saw a close at 5.28. Then today's candle opened up above the 50 simple day moving average and is progressing upwards a little bit further. Now, I suspect we still have a bit more in the tank, with our 50 EMA coming in at that higher range of 5.48 cents. Now, historically, in the last little while, we have seen the 50 EMA and the 50 SMA be pretty heavy resistance on HBAR's price action. We've seen it a number of times. I went through this in the last video, and it hasn't really changed. Now, our potential here is for a continued run to the upside. The question I have is, do we really think that we're going to get a strong close above the 50 EMA here? Our actual target range would typically be between 5.6 and the 5.8 cent level just here. I'm going to go ahead and remove the fibs off the chart so you can kind of see. Okay, this will be the target range. Now, our minimum expectations were met when we breached our high here that we had on the 14th of September, which was 5.29 cents. So as soon as we went up higher than that, we've met our minimum expectations. But the typical expectations is this little area a little bit higher, which would then look more like this, okay, coming in between 5.6 and 5.8 cents. Okay, so that's the kind of hope, that's the kind of bullish hope that we have for HBAR to kind of continue this run a little bit higher, to come up into this little range here, and basically here is going to be the opportunity to go short on the market. Now, as we have some trading opportunities, what are they looking like? Well, would we want to go long? I don't think we do, because if we take today's current market price, we'd have to put our stop loss lower than the previous swing low. And our target range here, even on the higher side, is going to be at 5.8. That gives us a risk reward ratio of 0.96. And what that means is for every $1 that you risk, you would only be earning 0.96, so 96 cents per dollar. So that's not great. What you want is a minimum 1.5. And well, I don't see the kind of potential here for Hedera to rally up towards kind of 6 cents, a little bit over 6 cents. So for that, I think going long is probably not the play. Instead, I'm going to be paying close attention to the 50 EMA and the 50 SMA. And if we do get those kind of moves up into this higher range, it might be a wise idea to put the short position up here. And that short position would put a nice wide stop loss in place and target out 1.5 on the risk reward ratio, which basically just takes us back down to this area of consolidation around the 5 cent level. That there would be the smarter play in my opinion. So I'm going to leave this on the chart and we'll see how that kind of plays out. Now, it's possible, of course, that we don't rally up into those highs, and instead we find confirmed rejection around the 50 EMA, in which case, once you kind of have confirmation of a resistance line, or specifically around the 50 EMA or the 50 SMA, we can go short there, stop loss adjust tight above it, and of course, your 1.5 is going to be really, really easy to hit on that one because it will be above the 50 simple day moving average. So for the most part, I think actually the short positions are the wiser ones when it comes to Hedera. And speaking speaking of trading, we've got some fantastic offers and exclusive bonuses for the cheeky crypto community, courtesy of the Blowfin exchange. As you can kind of see here, the whale campaign 2.0 is now in full swing. So on top of the usual kind of benefits that you get of getting up to $10,000 of deposit and trade rewards, depending on how much you deposit and obviously trade on the platform, they're also now giving you the opportunity to get your hands on a Model 3. There are several different prizes up for grabs from Blowfin just for signing up using the link in the description down below and trading and basically depositing and trading on the platform. It's quite straightforward. So if you're a trader, this is a fantastic opportunity not to be missed out on. As you can kind of see here, we have the Apple Watch SE. This is for trading volume above 3 million, which sounds a lot more or sounds a lot more difficult than it actually is. The volume is taker volume, which is only considered. The rewards will be sent within 2 days after the end of the event. Prizes will be distributed in equivalent USDT after the event ends. Each user can only get the reward once based on the highest trading volume during the activity period. 10% cashback, the amount transferred into the futures account minus the amount transferred out of the futures account. Obviously 10% of that. And you have the bonuses as well on there. So some fantastic things. As you can kind of see here, as we go up to 15 million in trading volume, you get the Herman Miller chair. You then obviously get a camera here, the Canon EOS R5 at 25 million volume. 50 million will get you a travel fund of $5,000. If you're into your bikes, a Kawasaki Ninja 650. This is for a trading volume above 100 million, and of course the Tesla Model 3 with 300 million in trading volume. So this is a fantastic opportunity to take advantage of everything that this has to offer. So this runs until October the 4th. Why don't you go ahead and check the link in the description down below and sign up to Blowfin and start actively trading and start bagging yourself some of these fantastic deals, at least in the kind of medium term. As we take a look at our stochastic RSI, we're heavily overbought on the 1-day time frame, indicating that we are likely to see a big shift in momentum. Now, that could be next week. By the looks of it, it more than likely probably will be, but obviously we can't use the Elliott wave theory, smart money concepts, or stochastic RSIs to time the market. But based on historical price patterns, I would say, yeah, I would expect a bit of a momentum shift next week. What causes that? I don't know. Essentially, what typically happens is the market is just looking for an excuse. So should something kind of cause that kind of wobble or cause some kind of little bit of nervousness in the market, we're probably going to see a downturn and momentum start shifting on us. Okay, so at the moment, momentum is there supporting this move to the upside, but it's not going to last that much longer, in my opinion. Now, as we take a look at the divergence indicator, this one shows more strength to the move. Okay, so this one shows that we are in an upward trend for Hedera hash graph. Okay, now we are coming into this really interesting range of previous resistance right here. Okay, so although there is this idea that maybe we're gaining momentum and we are likely to push up, we are also coming to a historical place where we found historical resistance on the Hedera hash graph's price action. Now, if we take into consideration these two previous spikes in this range, it was here right when we had on the 15th of July and that big downturn in the market. It was also here when we were coming up against the 50 EMA, 50 SMAs, and it was basically on the 24th of August. Now, of course, we're up hitting the same range on the relative strength index while simultaneously coming up and testing those 50 EMAs and 50 SMAs. Well, if history repeats itself, we're going to find rejection here. So for the most part, it does to me look like Hedera hash graph is going to be in for a little bit of volatility to the downside, not to the upside. As much as we want those breakouts, we'll pay attention to them, but I don't think we should be counting on it just yet. Now, as we kind of zoom in here and we take a look at what's going on with the volumes, well, most recently over the last few days, the volumes have increased on Hedera hash graph. That's a positive. But if I zoom out, guys, you can really see these volumes are very, very small, which means it doesn't take a lot of money to either swing the market in either direction. We can have a smaller increase in volume in buying and see a bit of a surge in price. Likewise, we can spook the market and see an increase in selling pressure and and really dump the price. So there isn't a huge amount of demand for Hedera, and that's not a huge amount of sell pressure either. But either way, if some positive news breaks out, we might see some additional buying pressure that does cause Hedera's price action to really surge. Likewise, we might find a little bit of nervousness in the market that causes some retail investors to dump their positions on HBAR, and as such, we might see a big downturn in the market. I think that's really where we are at the moment. Obviously, the market is illiquid. We know this. This isn't anything new. It's been that way for a while, and it's also confirmed with the Federal Reserve pivot. They only pivot when the market's illiquid, right? So knowing that the interest rates over in the US are decreasing is a confirmation of the illiquidity of the market. So where are we right now? Well, we've been inside this little range for a while. And it's a great place to be. I'm going to pull this across here. Essentially, we are looking for the price anywhere for dollar cost averaging huge opportunities between 0.033 or 0.0333 and the 0.559. Okay, so where we are basically is the reaccumulation phase of Hedera hash graph. Now, as I zoom out of this, it's a great place to be because this is a huge opportunity with some massive, massive potential to the upside. Now, of course, there's many altcoins that are going to give you maybe let's say 5x, 10x, right? But what Hedera hash graph presents is some pretty interesting opportunities. If we come up and test the previous all-time high, we're talking 10x, right? If we go up just a little bit higher than all-time high, we test out kind of 83 cents, we're talking 22x from the low that we had back in December 2022, of course. And of course, if we go up and do something similar to what we happened in 2021, well, we are talking about, 58x upwards towards, well in excess of 150x. So Hedera hash graph presents some huge speculative opportunities for some really, really lucrative positions. So dollar cost averaging all around here on the assumption that maybe you just look for a 10x minimum expectation and happily be surprised if you end up with a 20 or 30x is something to kind of really take into consideration. This is what I kind of look at when I think about my portfolio. I start thinking, okay, well, how many X's am I looking on a project? For the most of them, we look for a comfortable 10x position. You're not going to get it on Bitcoin. You might, if you're lucky, get it on Ethereum with ETFs and stuff like that. But really, if you're going to be looking for 10x positions, you're going to be looking at the altcoins. And really, there's going to be some of the more well-known altcoins that are going to give you 10x. And then, of course, there's going to be some kind of middle ground, higher risk plays like Hedera hash graphs, HBAR, which could give you considerably a lot more X's on your portfolio. So in terms of kind of structuring out a portfolio, this is one that you have to kind of really seriously consider, in my opinion. But that is all it is, just my opinion on what's going on with HBAR's price action. Let me know what your thoughts are on all of this in the comments down below. Where do you sit on the price action? Or join us in our free Discord server and we can continue the conversations down there. And if you haven't done so already, guys, check out the video just over here. It's not one you're going to want to miss.